shaken by the news of one of the support vehicle drivers losing part of his foot as a result of running over a landmine on the Moroccan-Mauritanian border. The Land Rover strayed only meters off the designated route, as a witness mentioned. It was a small and narrow road, and the marshal at the control point told me not to go off the marked route because there were mines. I know that each time we use this route, this is always the same problem. I was on the road for about 10 meters after the control, and I saw the explosion to the side of us. It was about 50 meters away, with all the shrapnel then coming down to earth. So a horrible experience for him. Hubert Oriol, race director, also spoke to us. He says I don't understand this mistake. I can't understand why at that precise point the driver decided to go off the main route. I think we have to wait for the driver's explanation. It could have been worse, but it is a terrible accident and we're shocked by this. And as with all accidents, it is very unfortunate. So on to today's stage, 518 kilometers of it, the first marathon loop. They actually ended up where they started from. That was the whole idea. It was a stage of navigation and of dealing with the dunes today, and some very rocky parts as well. And basically, clever navigation was what was going to win you this stage without any major markers along the route. And the stage win went to the lady driver, Jutta Kleinschmidt, taking the victory on the stage by the narrowest of margins. Let's just take a look at some coverage of her in action today. Now, she spent a great deal of the stage in company with another Mitsubishi driver, Carlos Souza. There is Souza, and Jutta Kleinschmidt and Carlos Souza were together quite a lot of the way today, particularly after the second checkpoint. Following each other through the sand dunes and basically following one another's route most of the time, although once in a while each would decide to take a very slightly different direction. Now remember, this year Jutta Kleinschmidt being co-driven for the first time by Andreas Schulz. In the past she's been co-driven by Tina Turner. This year Andreas Schulz came in partly because of the lack of mechanics allowed at each of the overnight bivouacs. They felt that Andreas would be more effective. He is a mechanic by trade as well, so he'd be able to repair the car more easily, and in fact in changing the punctured tyres, which Tina and Jutta used to struggle with a little bit. As you can see, the two of them running together much of the time today, Jutta Kleinschmidt and Carlos Souza. It was after the third checkpoint that she went slightly off on her own route, which allowed her to take the fastest time of the day by only 25 seconds from Jean-Louis Schlesser. 25 seconds, and just bear in mind that it took 5 hours, 22 minutes and 42 seconds to complete today's stage, and yet it was won by just 25 seconds. Amazing that they could be so close. Jean-Louis Schlesser, though, as I mentioned, has protested that stage victory for Jutta Kleinschmidt, ironically, as the two of them used to be teammates, but Schlesser said that she went too far off route on her last section after checkpoint number 3, and he's protested it, and we won't know the results of that protest until tomorrow. Schlesser himself had a reasonable time. As I say, he was second fastest on the stage. He thought he had won it, in fact. When he got to the final checkpoint, he thought he'd won it, only to have discovered that Jutta Kleinschmidt had got there a few seconds ahead of him. He is still in 5th place overall, and his teammate, there he is, Jose Maria Servia, is still the overall rally leader. Remember, Schlesser was given a 1-hour penalty a couple of days ago as a result of getting a push start, and in the 2 days since, he's only managed to gain some 45 seconds on the leader, his teammate there, Jose Maria Servia. Schlesser saying that he has a slight conflict of emotions now. Does he go for broke and try and make up that 1 hour? Or does he try and support his teammate Jose Maria Servia and be there in case there's any kind of mechanical problem? Hiroshi Masuoka in one of the Mitsubishis also went well today. He was third on the stage, and that's put him into second place overall. Now, it was the other Mitsubishi of Jean-Pierre Fontenay who'd been holding on to second behind Servia, but Masuoka managed to pop him into second place here today, gaining 6 minutes on Servia, and the gap just under 10 minutes now from first to second. Thierry Delaverne had a better day on board the Nissan, fifth over the course of the stage, but he's down in seventh overall, a full 1 hour and 43 minutes off the lead. But this was the story of the day. Jean-Pierre Fontenay, who had been in second place, took a nosedive over a yump, and it then rolled onto its side as it landed. Now, not too much damage was done on the rollover onto its side, but a fair bit of damage was done apparently when it landed on its nose initially. It was over that jump there just behind that they had the problem. Now, Carlos Souza, who we saw working with Jutta earlier on, came along to give them a tow and to get them righted once again. And it didn't take too long, although the rope seemed to stretch somewhat before they managed to actually pull it onto its wheels. Finally, they pulled it back upright. And although it didn't look too damaged, apparently Jean-Pierre Fontenay actually ended up with a bent chassis as a result of that. Now, it doesn't look too bad there. You can see the damage to the left front wing, but there is a bent chassis apparently for Jean-Pierre Fontenay, so that's a little bit worrying. And talking with Gilles Picard, saying we must limit our mechanical problems. Are you okay? And his co-driver saying, I bit my tongue, but no other problem. They lost some 14 minutes as a result of that rollover. Not a great deal of time, and they're now 19 minutes off the lead. So not a great day for the Frenchman, Jean-Pierre Fontenay. For the Nissans, a reasonable time, as we mentioned, and for Stefan Onrad and his buggy here, which he reckons doesn't handle to the best, but it's still going. It was 9th on stage, and he lies in 8th place overall, so good effort indeed. Gregoire de Mévius, meanwhile, in the other of the Nissans, they're 8th on the stage today, and lying in 10th place overall. Over the dunes and through this valley as well, some great scenery once again. They're in Mauritania, remember now, having moved into Mauritania yesterday, and now they've got some 6 more stages still to complete in Mauritania. As you can see, a number of people had problems today. This is the Kia of Kurt Leduc, the American. The other Kia, we saw the second Kia of Darren Skilton, Matthew Stevenson, the British co-driver, a couple of days ago. This is the second of these machines. Now, these are only 2-wheel drive, and they were getting some help here from Philippe Womberg. That's Philippe Womberg. Now, he's not driving this car, but he had engine problems with his own machine and decided not to carry on through the rest of the stage. He stopped and sort of helped people and waited until he could check in to checkpoint 1 again, because checkpoint 1 became checkpoint 4 at the end of the day. He gets a 20-hour penalty for doing that, mind you. But Philippe Womberg, as you can see, is beyond caring about such things. Fun and games in the desert, but the Kia definitely struggling in the soft sand. Meanwhile, let me just tell you that in the T1 production class, Stefan Peter-Hansel in the Nissan has a very good, healthy lead in that now. He was 12th overall in the standings, and he's left Thierry Magnaldi and this man, Pierre Lartigue, well behind. Lartigue is 3 hours behind Peter-Hansel now, and Magnaldi's a full 2.5 hours behind. So we had a great battle in T1 in the early days, but I have to say that the 6-time bike winner on the Dakar, Stefan Peter-Hansel, and the man who finished second last year in the Mega, is doing it all over again in the T1 Nissan, which he leads the class. So let's let's take a look at the results from today. As we saw, some people had problems. 25 seconds only separating Kleinschmidt and Schlesser, but that win under protest, so we'll have to see what turns out. Of the Brits, let me tell you, sadly, Mark and Paul Round have withdrawn. They didn't make it through to the end of yesterday's stage. They are out of the rally. Rogers and Turner still going. They were 92nd last night. No time yet for today, but they're still going in their Land Rover. Jose Maria Serbia continues to lead the car section. Let's hear from some of the drivers now.
Very bad road is very bad condition. Some places very fast, but sometimes dangerous in dune. So today is a little bit tired, but I'm very happy to win today. So cars should be very good condition. So today my co-driver Pascal Memo is good driver, working job, good job.
So great job from his co-driver. Hope you understood that. Pascal Maimon being well praised there. And here's our rally leader, Jose Maria Serbia, teammate to Jean-Louis Schlesser, of course, and brother to Salvador Serbia, who used to do well on the rally. He said, we completed the stage, followed the course without problems. At the end, a couple of cars took a shortcut, tried to overtake us, but they couldn't, and the rest of it was okay.
It was maybe a little bit faster than the choice what Jean-Louis did, and so we gained back the time which we lose the morning. So that was the game of the day, and in the end of the day was nearly the same time. He's only some seconds down, but we was lucky that we was some seconds in front and could win the special.
So Jutta Kleinschmidt continuing her winning ways on the Dakar. She's won stages before. And here we have Thierry de Laverne, one of the Eurosport drivers. He says, today the special stage was extremely difficult. We did about 70 kilometers in the dunes and very difficult for the car. And for us, we're a little nervous of breaking the front suspension because it was very hot and we got a lot of smell of oil. And we really thought we weren't going to be able to finish the special. So I eased off the accelerator a bit, and for the last 30 kilometers, it was easier. It was flat and no big problem. The last 5 kilometers, however, there were a lot of big stones and rocks, and we were worried about a puncture. So today we had a little bit of everything on the special stage. So Thierry de Laverne still well in the top 10. Coming up after the break, we'll see how the bike riders got on, and in particular John Deacon, who had an excellent day today. Stay with us for Dakar coverage on Eurosport.
Pajero. New rules. Some songs just sound better behind the wheel. Tracks that make you want to drive simply for the sake of it. And these are the 60 original and best road tracks. They're the greatest drive songs ever written. All on 4 CDs or cassettes called On the Road. They're all the songs that'll stay with you, however far you're going.
Got a black magic woman. Got a black magic woman. Everybody's talking at me. I don't hear words they're saying, only the echoes of my mind. When I was walking in Memphis,
To get On the Road, you buy direct by picking up the phone. For your copy, call now. At Insight, we know great music when we hear it.
Off the coast of Africa in the sunshine of Gran Canaria, 4 European sides take their winter break, a chance to work on tactics and to contest the 18th tournament of Maspalomas, featuring Galatasaray, the Dutch champions PSV Eindhoven, Rosenborg of Denmark and Bayer Leverkusen. The Maspalomas tournament from Gran Canaria starts Wednesday at 7:15 with PSV Eindhoven against Galatasaray, live and right through to Saturday, only on British Eurosport.
Back to the Total Paris Dakar 2001 with Total.
So as sunrise took place this morning, the motorbikes set off bright and early. Around 8 o'clock in the morning they had to start the special stage, this looping special stage that ended up where it started from. But in between times there was going to be plenty of difficult navigation to deal with and lots of dunes as well, and particularly soft sand. Per Gunnar Lundmark, who you may remember had a horrible day yesterday when he lost his chain and lost a great deal of time as a result. Well, he was in fine form today, getting himself back into it. He was 14th fastest over today's stage. But as you can see, most of the lead riders decided to ride together today, perhaps just to keep an eye on one another. John Deacon in part of that group, as well as his teammate Jimmy Lewis as well. But all of them finding that at some point or other it was very easy to get it wrong. Just watch as they come down this dune. That was John Deacon, who took a tumble there, I'm afraid, on his BMW. He wasn't the only one, however. Several of the others would do exactly the same. Remember, the BMW is a bit heavier than the KTMs. The twin-cylinder Boxer is some 25 kilograms heavier than the KTM. And just to show that John wasn't the only one to do it, there is the man who was lying in second place, Juan Roma, doing just the same with his BMW. And in fact, decided he had to go back down the dune in the opposite direction if he was to be able to go back up it in the correct direction again. Just gives you an idea how difficult it is, even for the very best riders sometimes. Juan Roma was 10th on the stage today, so not as fast as you might have expected. About 9 minutes off the pace and only 3 seconds slower than Richard Sankt. But none of those guys went on to win the stage. This man did, the Spaniard. But watch this, towards the end of the stage, Esteve Puyol, he took the stage win, but just take a look at this for a moment. It wasn't all roses for him either. Ouch. Well, thankfully he managed to step off it fairly easily and, of course, get back on and not lose too much time. But just look at the size of those rocks that they had to deal with and just no way of picking their way through. Giovanni Sala on board another of the KTMs. Good day today, though. Second on the stage, but he is some 5.5 hours off the pace now after his problems a few days ago. Carlo De Gavado, third today, 5th overall. He's only 5 minutes off 4th position, which is held at the moment by Jordi Arcarons. Now, John Deacon, I said he'd had a good day, and indeed he did, despite that fall earlier on. 4th fastest today, and that's his best stage result on the 2001 rally. He's had all sorts of bad luck, all sorts of problems, but today it was a good one for John. We saw him yesterday, and he was pretty happy about these stages, and he certainly seemed to go well throughout the course of today. Well over 5 hours in the saddle rather than the salad for the top riders, and the slower riders, of course, taking all that much longer than that. Now, that's one of the refueling stops here for the bikes, and the clock doesn't stop while they get refueled, so it's a real race to refuel as quickly as possible. Everybody rushing at this self-service petrol station in the middle of the desert, and then leaping back on the bikes to get going again. There's Jordi Arcarons, who seemed to be the first of the group to get away. A few problems for Giovanni Sala starting. Fabrizio Mioni getting away cleanly himself. And talking of the Italian, he was 5th on the stage today, 2nd overall now. He's up from 3rd. He's now moved ahead of Juan Roma. So we have KTM's 1st and 2nd as we go into this evening. One more day's stage before the intermediary rest halt. So interesting things happening in the bike competition. Number 8, Jordi Arcarons, 6th today, 4th overall. But for some of the less experienced riders, it was tough out there.